So everyone, very quickly, what are the news today in the newspaper? We will be discussing about it. And the first is about the fault line of poor health infrastructure. So this essay is talking about, this editorial is talking about how the health infrastructure is there in India. This is the first article which we need to emphasize today. And the second, China completes Tibet highway. So we can expect a question, China completes Tibet highway. What is the reason behind it? From where to where this Tibet highway has been constructed? Israel unleashes airstrikes across Gaza, and you know that there is a ceasefire agreement happened today. So unleashes airstrike across Gaza. Most expected question for prelims. Interview. World's largest iceberg breaks off from the Antarctica recently. This is also one of the current affair. Russia is involved and United States of America is involved in this Arctic. Sri Lanka Parliament passes bill on China-backed port city. There is something called as Elam. There is something called as Elam. MPs of Tamil-speaking provinces of Sri Lanka, they gave a name called as Chilam. Colombo port is being constructed by the China and the authority is being given to the China. So the MPs of Tamil speaking provinces told that the Colombo port which is being constructed by the China is a separate sovereignty. So you should call it as how you are calling our demand as Elam, Tamil Elam. We are calling it as a Chilam. So what is Chilam? We can expect a question. Aerosols can travel up to 10 meters. Ventilation is the key, says the government with respect to COVID. So don't read much about the COVID, only final conclusions you have to read. Circumvention, the center has a duty not to bypass political leadership in dealing with state. This article is about federalism, federal features. The central government should not bypass the state leadership. They have to take the concern, participation, contribution, coordination and cooperation with the state governments. And balancing that, India should oppose indiscriminate attacks on Israel. This is a very good article today. The stand of India is Jerusalem should become the capital of Palestine and the borders should be the 1967 borders and there should be two nations. One nation is Palestine as the capital, Jerusalem, Israel, Tel Aviv as the capital. The India is very strong in this, but however, Narendra Modi is tilted towards Israel. Outdated nature of bureaucracy. This is something about public administration. US, Russia at odds over military activity in the Arctic region. In the Arctic region, why? Because Russia became the member, deciding member in the Arctic Council. So, as the Cold War is there, today also Cold War is there. So, what is their shares, their impact on Arctic? Means their concerns, United States of America and Russia's concern on, yes. These are the major information. These are the major things which are there in the news. So, the first article, first we will go as per the priority. There is another article which discussed about black fungus. So, very quickly, black fungus, another name is mucormycosis. What are the symptoms or what is black fungus? Amar Jain, quickly. What is
the black fungus is a fungal infection which we are currently seeing as a post-COVID infection due to reduction in immunity, especially in those patients which are suffering from comorbidities such as diabetes.
What are the symptoms?
Sir, I am not aware of the symptoms.
Okay. That you have to. Yes, Prudvinath, what is epidemic? What is pandemic?
Sir, epidemic is some disease outbreak which is confined to a particular area and which spreads in a short period of time. Whereas pandemic, it is spread across the world, across the borders.
Okay. Who will declare the disease as pandemic and epidemic, who will be having the authority?
WHO will declare a disease as pandemic, whereas the nations can declare any disease as epidemic.
According to which act?
I think according to Epidemic Diseases Act.
There is recently, with respect to black fungus, there is a disease name called as notifiable disease. Sudhir Reddy, what is notifiable disease?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of.
Yes. Anyone? Manoj Kumar.
We should notify, should record all those things and inform state governments regarding.
Yes, please. Manoj.
So any cases that are detected at the private hospitals or government hospitals should be recorded and submitted to the governments.
More specific? With an example?
Sorry, so I think I am aware of that. And even if there is any new black fungus case, state government should intimate, hospitals should intimate that patient to the government hospital, to the governments.
Okay. Prithvi, notifiable disease.
I think any disease which is specified under Epidemic Disease Act. For example, recently mucormycosis has been made a notifiable disease. The number of cases, any new case coming up should be recorded and notified to the government.
Okay. See, there is something called as Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. What is this Integrated Disease Surveillance Program? Integrated Disease Surveillance Program. So, whenever you are not answering, it means that you have to make a note and you have to do after the class. Yes. Can the economy survive the second COVID-19 wave? Can the economy survive the second COVID-19 wave? So, my question is, first wave, how it impacted economy? Second wave, how it is going to impact the economy? Amanjit.
First wave was a national lockdown, and so there was a stall in the economy, and we had seen that the GDP had fallen into negative growth by in double digits. In second wave, there is not national lockdown, but state-specific and region-specific lockdown. So the level of closing of economy is less, and hence we have seen less impact of COVID-2 on economy.
See, first wave is called as supply side shock. Second wave is by demand side. Why is it so?
So in the first wave, we were not aware of we were caught unaware, and the supply chain had broken off. There was there was there was pause in logistics as well as transportation, and hence we were suffering from supply chain bottlenecks. Whereas in COVID-2, since there was not national lockdown, local regions lockdown, supply chain was still there. Whereas the problem was on the demand side, and as people had lost jobs during COVID-1, and hence demand had lowered down.
Okay. So, anyone read this article, Fault Line of Poor Health Infrastructure? Can give the summary? Anyone? The fault line of poor health infrastructure of Hindu newspaper. See, one best example we got here. The number of doctors per the population in India is lesser when compared to China, when compared to Pakistan. Pakistan is having more doctors when compared to India. That is one thing where we can have a national shame. The number of doctors is less, number one. Number two, as you know that the GDP contribution for the health infrastructure for the sake of expenditure is very less. So recently economic survey has been asked to increase the GDP contribution or the expenditure of amount to the health expenditure. How much? How much percentage was it?
2-3%.
Yes. So the health expenditure is also very less. So this is today's article about. China completes Tibet highway. What might be the reason within 7 years they completed this highway? Sudhir Reddy, can you tell me any geopolitical issue in this? China completes Tibet highway.
Sir, it gives them access to Nepal and even it can strengthen the claim on Arunachal Pradesh, sir. At the same time, it provides opportunity for quick mobilization of forces.
Yes, correct. Next. True. Yes. Israeli unleashes airstrikes across Gaza. Can anyone tell me the story of Jerusalem voluntarily?
Sir, Jerusalem is a holy city for three major religions, three major Abrahamic religions.
Okay.
So there has been a fight with respect to Jerusalem as a capital for both Israel and Palestine, sir.
Yes.
So recently, the stand of India with respect to Jerusalem, East Jerusalem as capital of Palestine, has been removed from our official documents.
Yes.
So this is one of the major shift that India has taken recently with respect to the Palestinian issue.
Pradeep Kumar, Temple Mount means what? There is Al-Aqsa, there is Temple Mount. Anyone aware of this? Prudvi?
Sir, Alaska, I think, is a Islamic worship place, mosque, where attacks have been conducted recently, where evacuations have been conducted, against which protests are being done. I'm not aware of the other thing.
Temple Mount is a neighborhood to the Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is a holy place for Jewish. Both are in East Jerusalem. But the problem is the majority of the Muslims are located in East Jerusalem. The Israelis claiming East Jerusalem after the 6-day war. So all the incident happened on the Ramadan month when the Jerusalem day was being celebrated. The same day the Ramadan month was been happening. So that was the triggering point for all this event episode which is happening right now. Where is Golan Heights, Amanjin? And what is the significance of Golan Heights?
Sir, Golan Heights borders Israel and Syria.
Yes.
Sir, Israel claims Israel in the 6-day war won land over it, and it is a bone of contention between the Arab supporters, including Syria and Israel.
Manoj Kumar, today who owns Golan Heights?
So I'm not completely aware of, but if you could allow me, I think it's Syria.
Yes, very good. Nagbabu, who owns Golan Heights today?
Sir, it was originally part of Syria, but after 6-day war, Israel controls Golan Heights.
That is very important, Israel-Palestina. Can anyone tell me about Arctic Council?
So who controls Golan Heights, sir?
Yes, you have to tell me who controls the Golan Heights. Prithvi, I will give you the total story.
Sorry, sir, I'm not.
Sir, I think it's Jordan.
Not Jordan. It is between the Syria and Israel.
Sir, most of the Golan Heights is controlled by Israel, and some part of it is controlled by Syria, sir, after the 7-day war.
See, originally the Golan Heights belongs to Syria. The green pastures, the olive trees of the world is grown at this place, where the Lake Tebris is located, where the river Jordan flows, begins. The conflict between the Israel and Syria is for this Golan Heights. If you remember, there is one particular plan from the Syria, which is called a Shalal Dam. They want to construct against this Lake Tebris so that the water will not flow into the Israel, but which was been removed or destroyed by the Israeli Mossad agents. So 1967, when this 6-day war happened, the Golan Heights were being captured by the Israeli. Most of the parts of the Golan Heights are now under the control of the Israeli, but the very minority is under the control of Syria. But originally it belongs to Syria. Who is Hezbollah? Manoj Kumar, Kiran, what is Hezbollah? Tell me anyone. Hezbollah.
Sir, Hezbollah is a Shiite organization which is categorized as terrorist organization by USA, sir. Hezbollah controls Lebanon.
Okay.
It is
Hamas.
considered as a faction of Iranian factions.
Okay, correct. Means Shia group. Means Shia group.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hamas.
Hamas is the one which is currently administering the Gaza Strip, sir.
Sunni or Shia?
Sir, I can't.
Sunni or Shia?
Sir, it is Sunni.
Shia or Sunni?
The Hamas.
Sir, I think it's Sunni, sir.
Okay. My question is for Prithvi. If Hamas is Sunni group, then why Iran is supporting Hamas?
Sir, the conflict between Palestinian and Israeli is basically seen as conflict between the Jewish population and rest of the Arab nations, because the Arab nations support the Palestinian cause, I think. So Hamas is fighting on the side of the Palestinian cause. So other Arab nations are also supporting, like Iran is also supporting.
So the biggest enemy for the Israelis, Iran. That is one of the, what you told is 100% correct. At the same time, Iran, in spite of being a different in sect, they want to support the Muslim at large, mainly to counter Israel. What is Abrahamic religions, Aman J? What are Abrahamic religions?
Abrahamic religions are those which consider their origin in the god Abraham, and so some of them are Jewish, Christian, as well as Islamic.
Okay. Why? What is the connection with Jerusalem for these three religions?
The Jerusalem is considered as the holy place for all the other three religions, and seen as a origin, source of origin for Jewish as well as Islamic.
So for everyone, my question is, other than two-state solution, what would be the other solution, other alternative? If you are Indian Foreign Service officer and I am going to give you the decision-making authority, other than two-state solution, what would be the best solution?
So the other solution the other solution that I can think of is having one integrated multi-ethnic nation, multi-ethnic, multi-religious nation.
Single nation.
Yes, sir.
Oh, very good. Prithvi, Sudhir.
Sir, the ideal solution is to have two countries, sir. But if it is not possible, it will be better if there are semi-autonomous regions, having their control on legislative, judicial, and even executive parts, and the parts of foreign affairs and defense should be under the control of both Israel and Palestinian leaders.
Yeah, up to now, who is controlling Jerusalem, whether it is UNO or whether Israel or Palestine?
Sir, right now it is being controlled by Israel, sir.
But earlier it was decided that UNO should control the Jerusalem, isn't it?
Sorry, sir, I'm not aware of.
See, earlier, according to the 1948 declaration, United Nations Organization should control the Jerusalem, but after the 1967 war, Israel took Jerusalem and considered itself as the capital of the Israel. Tomorrow also we will get some questions on Israel, why? Because the issue is continuing. 12 hours the ceasefire. Again, there is bombings are happening right now in Al-Aqsa Mosque. So again, tomorrow we will get the fodder for more discussion. So by the time, please get command over the Israel and Palestine. Yes. Tell me about Arctic Council, Prithvi.
The Arctic Council consists of countries surrounding the Arctic region, I think.
Correct only. So what is the interest?
Sir, any climate change because of global warming will affect these Arctic countries more intensely and at the earliest. So I think that is the main interest forming an Arctic Council.
Sir, Arctic region is a resource-rich region which has natural gas and other resources. Also, it provides other way without between Europe and China without going into this Malacca Strait and all this crossing Indian Ocean.
Whether we can consider Arctic Ocean as global common? What
No,
is
sir.
global? What is global common?
Unlike Antarctica region, Arctic Council is not considered as global common because its 8 sovereign nations which are part of this Arctic Council claim that Arctic region.
Very good. What is global common?
Global common are those which are considered, which are seen as resources of all the countries
Of the world, yes.
Yes.
Sri Lankan parliament passes bill on China-backed port city Colombo port. What is China's interest on Colombo port? What might be the interest? Sudhir.
Sir, Colombo Port is a strategic point for China, sir. It gives access to both the west of Indian Ocean and east of Indian Ocean.
See, the biggest question we can expect is the Tamil MPs are calling Colombo port as Chinese enclave. Why? Because the administration and the autonomy in that Colombo port is totally controlled by the Chinese government, by the Chinese private people. So, you know that there are enclaves of Bangladesh in India and India's enclaves in Bangladesh. Means geographically it is present in other territory, but our power is there. We are ruling it. Other is controlling in our country a territory, but it is geographically located in our country. Those are called as enclaves. So, this Colombo port, which is strategically very important, some of the MPs of China, some of the MPs of Sri Lanka are accusing the government, calling it as Chinese enclaves. Chilam. One thing you have to remember about it. Yes. What is the meaning of aerosols? Aerosols means what? Nagababu?
Sir, they are the droplets when somebody coughs or sneezes. So the droplets that are released, they are aerosols. I mean, predominantly WHO is saying COVID is transmitted through aerosols route more than the surface route.
Very good. The center has a duty not to bypass political leadership in dealing with states. One question I want to ask you. Health is a state subject, but everyone is accusing central government. Why is it so?
Sir, though health is a state subject, controlling interstate transmission is the responsibility of the center as it is in concurrent list. Also, during the first wave, center has taken responsibility under Disaster Management Act, which comes under the residuary powers, which is also a center subject.
Very good.
So,
Yes.
vaccination is also centralized initially. So, responsibility is on center. So, government, everyone is expecting center to do more than states.
That is the crux of this particular article. Anyone, any point to add?
Sir, also there are interstate inequalities with respect to health spending, and also for the development of health sector as a whole, there is requirement of these personnel also. So the medical education or paramedical education, everything is under the control of the center, be it the establishment of colleges or national level institutes. So I think this is also reason why center is being accused for the current state of health sector.
Okay. My question is, what steps the central government should take so that federal system will become more strengthened? Tell me more number of points very quickly. The federalism, the federal structures will become more stronger rather than becoming unitary. What steps the central government should do? Niti Aayog is one. Next.
The regular interactions in interstate councils. Sir.
Very good. Yes.
And even a empowered group can be created with all health ministers, with the central minister being the head of it, to take decisions with respect to COVID
Pandemic. Yes. Very good. Next.
More taxation in the divisible pool.
Huh?
More taxes in the divisible pool. Those taxes.
Yes. Next. Aman.
So taking states into confidence whenever central government legislates regarding concurrent list or under Article 253, their international obligations.
Very good. Yes. Next. There is a requirement of any third center state commission. What is the first center state commission?
Sarkaria Commission, sir.
Yes. Second.
Punji Commission.
Yes. So is there any requirement of in this pandemic health situations we required any third center state relations commission? What do you recommend?
Yes, I do recommend, but our execution regarding first and center interstate commissions didn't show any results. So we need it urgently and it should be implemented.
This is about the Gaza, Israel. The outdated nature of the bureaucracy, it's everything about the bureaucracy, collaborative governance, participatory. Bavarian bureaucracy is much of public administration. If I ask you, what is the meaning of Bavarian bureaucracy? Can you answer me, anyone?
The Bavarian bureaucracy is hierarchical, rule-based bureaucracy.
Rule-based bureaucracy, yes.
So, based on the principles given by Max Weber, some of the principles are hierarchical, rule-based, file notings,
neutrality, anonymity.
Yeah, neutrality, anonymity.
Yes. Rule-based, you told already, yes.
Monopoly of power with the state.
Monopoly of the power with the state, yes. Bavarian bureaucracy. Arctic Council, yes. These are the major issues in today's newspaper. So, yes, please. Please.
So regarding this Bavarian bureaucracy, it generalist in the administration. So if we were asked a question whether we need more generalist in administration or more specialist, what should be our argument for that?
See, Weberian bureaucracy mainly advocates for generalist bureaucracy, whereas the 21st century bureaucracy advocates for specialist bureaucracy. But one thing we have to be very careful that administration deals about multiple aspects, whereas technical post demands only specific or special degrees, special qualifications. So administration is a generalist post. Most of the notifications or most of the recruitment, most of the appointments should be from generalists only. 80% should be generalists and 20% should be from specialists. So holistically 100% generalists is deniable. Holistically specialists also deniable. So there is a need for a proper share between the generalists and specialists in the bureaucratic structure. This should be that. It should be the combination of both. But Weberian bureaucracy advocated for generalists only.
Sir, can't we stress on domain expertise?
Domain expertise, yes, 100%. Like ISRO, if we need to work in ISRO, if we need to work for the Department of Science and Technology, 100% we want a specialist. But at the same time, a person who is working for tribal affairs, a specialist will not be there. There is a need for a generalist who should have awareness on politics, who should have awareness on social subjects, who should be having awareness on economics, who should be advocate of human rights.
So in this article, they have mentioned like health crisis, journalists are giving the comments and specialists like health personnel are following the comments. Instead, it should be the opposite.
Yes.
So
true.
if the same question is asked, like should health be completely put under the specialist of health domain?
100%. Science and technology, health aspects should be under the specialist domain. That is
one question.
1 minute. So that is the reason I told you some of the specific, it should not be 100% generalist, it should not be 100% specialist. It should be a proper share, a judicial share, a proportionate share between the generalist and specialist with respect to the domain. Yes, go on.
Sir, with respect to the giving orders by the specialist, sir, because now the health crisis pertains not only to the health domain, but it also pertains to the law and order, economic issues, and many more issues. So in this context, it will be good if a journalist considers all the actions with the help of a technical input, with the help of a technical guy, with all the inputs, and passes some order which can be implemented only by the specialist.
Yes, true. That is also true, 100% correct. But see, Second Administrative Reforms Commission recommended that in domain expertise, there is a requirement of specialists, according to Second Administrative Reforms Commission. Apart from the requirement of expert specialist domains, other sections of bureaucracy can be generalist bureaucracy, but health should be a specialist. Science and technology should be a specialist. But as you told, there is a requirement of a decision-making power who should be a generalist. But obviously, the minister is a generalist.
Only every day?
Oh, Indian Express and
going to
Hindu.
Shikoni.
Indian Express and Hindu both we are going to. Okay, so this should be very much useful for your interview.